This article here is about the horrific attack in Thailand, a country I've been to 5 different times. Mm. And usually, Thailand is referred to as the land of smiles, where you walk down the street and you see people with a smile on their face or greeting or nod of the head and so forth. But this is so horrific. Thailand attack. I'm full of pain and anger. Dong Phan Padaphar Dong is wandering outside a child care center, clutching a bag full of toys. The 64-year-old grandmother wants to know when she can see her grandson so she can place his most treasured possessions with him in his coffin. The bag includes a large plastic dinosaur. 3-year-old Patarawut is among the 23 children who died on Thursday in a gun and knife attack at the child care center in Thailand's northeast. A former policeman had stormed the building, killing children as young as 2 while they slept, leaving at least 37 people dead. More than 90 children usually attend the center, but because of poor weather and a bus breakdown, only 24 of them were there on Thursday. Well, that's a good thing. Imagine that. Otherwise, if the weather was great, 90 children would have been there. Only one child has survived. Police say the 34-year-old attacker, a local named Panya Kamrat, killed his wife and his stepson before killing himself after a manhunt. His stepson used to attend the center, but hadn't been for the past month. The motive for the attack is not yet known, but police said Kamrat was fired from his job in June for drug use. When I heard the news about the shooting, I just fainted, Dong Phan said. On her phone are photos of Padarawat taken just hours before the shooting. Like many child care centers, this one too regularly posts photos, updates for parents to see. The images show happy, smiling faces, writing or finishing a drawing. Dong Phan was one of several grieving relatives who had gathered outside the center in Nong Bua, Lamphua province on Friday morning. This child right there. Another grandmother, 46-year-old Nipha, says she lost both a grandson and granddaughter in the attack. I am full of such pain and anger because I cannot do anything, she says. She's not the only one. Others too say they are filled with grief and unanswered questions. Why did he take it out on the children? Why kill them when they did nothing to him? Says 27-year-old Naliwan Dungkhet, whose 2-year-old nephew, Captain, also died in the attack. He was just a month away from his 3rd birthday. Among the mourners was Komsan Norabur. His ex-wife married the attacker who killed both her and Norabur's 3-year-old son. Wow, world apart. So his ex-wife was married to this madman. My goodness, and his son died. I was at the factory when my friend asked me to check the news. I called my ex-wife and son to see if they were okay, but no one answered, he said. He was a good boy who liked to talk a lot. I'm waiting to pick up his body and see his face one last time. Many of the relatives said they had waited outside the childcare center well into the night on Thursday, while others gathered at the police station. They would eventually be greeted by the sight of pink and white coffins adorned with gold, bearing the bodies of the children, which were brought to the hospital morgue at Udon and laid out in rows. Police said the armed attacker broke into the building just after lunchtime on Thursday, shooting his way past the teacher and parent outside. He was recognized by one of the teachers when he burst in. Witnesses said he first shot staff, including a teacher who was 8 months pregnant, before forcing his way past teachers into a room where children were napping. He then stabbed most of his victims before fleeing. Officers who rushed to the nursery were confronted with the bodies of adults and children lying inside and outside the building. Cameron had appeared in court the morning of the attack on charges related to the use and possible sale of methamphetamine. He had been due to face a verdict on Friday. Mass shootings in Thailand are rare, although gun ownership rates are relatively high for the region. In the city of Nakhon Ratchasima, Thursday's attack comes less than a month after an army officer shot dead 2 of his colleagues at a base in Bangkok. See here? So it's right near Laos. Laos is right up there. A Udon area. Right near Laos. I believe Udon, that's where the U.S. used to have a military base during the Vietnam War. And it would fly over Laos toward Vietnam. Former policeman Panya Kamrat arrives at the childcare center at 12:30 p.m. and attacks teachers and children, killing many. At 1:30, the attacker flees. So he was there for a whole hour? Wow. The attacker flees and drives away in a white truck. At 3 o'clock, he returns home where he burns his truck and shoots his wife and stepson before killing himself. Isn't this crazy? I mean, he's doing this from 12:30 and at 12:30 and at 1:30, which is a whole hour, he flees. So whatever happened to the police to respond? I mean, come on now. This is another thing that's outrageous is that this guy was he was fired in June. He had a court date, and he still has his gun. And he was charged with using methamphetamine and sales of methamphetamine. Well, come on. So, somebody who is charged like that in the court system, his gun should have been taken away from him. Because believe me, without access to a gun, he might have been able to kill some people, but not that many. You know, I mean, you're killing babies. He had to get through the teachers first, and the way he got through them was by killing them with his gun, the 9mm gun that he has. See, so if he didn't have that gun, chances are, yeah, he would kill a few people, but maybe not as many as 24 kids or 23 kids, plus all those teachers. Ended up killing about 34 people altogether. This is really outrageous. And then back in February 2020, in Thailand, up in the northeast Thailand, an army guy, somebody from the military, army I think it was, he went on a shooting rampage. He killed about, I believe it was 29 people in a mall, shopping mall. And obviously the government there hasn't learned anything. So he killed all those people. And now a little more than 2 years later, we have the same nonsense, but even worse. This time the count is much higher. So they haven't learned. And mental health, I was reading an article that says Thailand, I believe, has about 653 psychiatrists. I forgot the number of psychologists, for a population of 70 million. So my question is, these people who become police officers, do they have like a psychiatric evaluation? I mean, if you want to be a police officer, do you just become a police officer based on your vision, how well you could see, or your physical abilities, your aptitude? Because mental health plays a big deal, and I read probably about the third of the people in Thailand, that's what I read somewhere, have mental issues. Yeah, mental issues. People with mental problems. And apparently, the way the society is, if you try to say, well, okay, I have a mental problem, I need help, you more than likely you'll be shunned. I know somebody who told me she believes she had mental issues or something's wrong with her mentally. I found a number of places, because she never called. Because in their society, it's like, okay, if you say, okay, I have a problem, people might look at you in a certain way. I think that used to happen here too in the United States. But then people got around and realized that, things do happen in people's lives. Look at here in New York, for example, how many incidents we have, mentally ill people in the subways, people beating people up. One man beat a woman up. He doesn't even know her, beat the woman up so badly, she just about lost vision in one eye. And you have another guy stab somebody in the train to death, kill him. All sorts of incidents, people just stabbing people. Lots of people with mental problems out there. So Thailand is really, has a problem with mental health. This guy definitely, regardless of what it is, whether you use your job or not, people lose their job. How many people? We all know people who lose their jobs, but that doesn't mean you're gonna go out killing, especially babies. No, that's the last thing you want to do, because if there's a hell, you're really going to hell. If there is really a hell, you're going to hell. And then he goes home and kills his wife and his stepson. No. This guy had mental issues. Forget about the methamphetamine. He definitely had mental issues that probably was never diagnosed.